considering I haven't done one of these in a while, I'd like to welcome you to something a little bit different. Yes, this is a Pokemon battle, however, there's a little program apparently out there now on the internet that you can get that will replay your backlogged battles that you can save on Pokemon Online. So we're going to test this thing out. It's a Monotype team. My opponent was Imperial, JavierNS, and I open up with Tankface the Metagross. He sends out with Tyranitar, who immediately begins a permanent Sandstorm. He swaps for Xatu, I guess predicting the Hammer Arm, or predicting a fighting type move, which Xatu 4X resists. So in retaliation, I switch into my own Xatu, Mysticus, and he Calm Minds. His is a Calm Minder, mine was not. So he Calm Minds. Of course, at this point I can finally go, and I hit with a very weak Psychic, only 9% of its health. That, and it's also resisted. Sandstorm damage, still hitting both of us, so I bring in Fetus, the Reuniclus. Yes, Fetus. So he hits with a Psyshock, which doesn't do a whole lot of damage because of the bulkiness that Reuniclus gets. So I go for a Calm Mind of my own. I figure replay the Calm Mind game, so met his with mine, except he switches into a Quagsire who yawns, and I hit it with a Psyshock, which only does 25% of its health, considering Quagsire's actually a little bit bulky. So we get another yawn, which I bounce back at him with Mysticus, because, you know, Magic Mirror is awesome like that. He predicts a Psychic and switches into the Tyranitar, which soaks it up with no damage. Sandstorm still raging. So he Ice Beams, I guess not predicting a switch, so I did switch into Dobby the Slowbro, who soaks Ice Beam very well. I guess maybe he was predicting a Surf or a Scald or something, so he switches into Ferrothorn. Or maybe he was just going for weakness, but I get a Calm Mind up. He switches back out. And Quagsire comes in, eats the Thunder Wave because of the ground typing. So he yawns, forcing me to trying to force a switch out after I get another Calm Mind up. So he switches Ferrothorn. I switched into Mysticus, hoping that... I don't know why I switched into Mysticus, but it ended up working out because Ferrothorn usually has Leech Seed and spikes that he likes to drop. But I hit him with a Hidden Power Fire, which doesn't actually do a whole lot of damage because I'm assuming it was especially defensive. Of course, it hits with a Gyro Ball, and then I try for his second Hidden Power, but he switches out with the Tyranitar. And, you know, hoping that it would actually stay out, I go for a Toxic. And I'm assuming he thought I would switch, but misprediction there, and I bounced his own Stealth Rock back out at him. So he takes poison damage, and I roost. Once again, I guess thinking that I was going to switch, he tries for another Stealth Rock, and I just bounce it back at him. I love Magic Mirror, just FYI. So I hit him with a Hidden Power, and he hits with a rather nasty Ice Beam, which did 66% of my damage. Or my health in damage, rather. So he takes poison damage, he switches into Excadrill. Of course, I use a Roost here, and I gain 50% of my HP back. And this was I believe it was a Sandstream, or not Sandstream, it was Sand Paddle Excadrill, the one that gets the speed bonus. So I switch into Dobby because he's physically bulky, hoping that I could weather the hits from Excadrill. Instead, it actually Rapid Spin and gets rid of its own Stealth Rocks. And then switches into Ferrothorn, so I Calm Mind. Of course, Ferrothorn is nasty with all the setup that he can do, so I try to stall him out a bit, and I hit him with a Thunder Wave, hoping that he wouldn't set up Leech Seed or Spikes, and he hits me with a Seed Bomb, taking out about a third of my health, so I swap back into Mysticus, pulling Dobby out. I get some Paralysis Hacks, and the Sandstorm is still raging, so not much to say about that. He swaps out the Ferrothorn for a Landorus, and I hit it with a Hidden Power, which doesn't do a whole lot of damage. I guess he was predicting I'd bring in Dopey, except Grass Knot just doesn't seem to hit very hard. I hit him for 40% of his health with a Psychic. Of course, I didn't read this one in time, but he manages to hit me with a Hidden Power, I don't know what. But it was enough to actually knock out Mysticus, so now he is in the lead, 6-5. So I bring in Tankface, not sure what to do at this point. Tried to finish him off with a Bullet Punch, except he switches in for Ferrothorn to soak up the hit. I take Iron Barb's damage. Of course, once again, repeating, I try for a Hammer Arm, and he switches into Xatu to soak up 4x resisting. So I hit with a Bullet Punch, hoping that I can try to take down this Xatu as quick as I can. Except it doesn't seem to work really well, because he just roosts his health back up. Predicting the roosting, he would go first. I hit with an Earthquake. Doesn't do as much as I had hoped, so I switch in with Zen, the Medicham, who is scarfed, and with his pure power, he basically has one of the highest attacks in the game, which makes him damn scary. Going for an Ice Punch, except I didn't catch a prediction, so he switched into the Ferrothorn, soaking Ice Punch pretty well. Not wanting to lose Zen and trying to get him unlocked from Ice Punch, I switch into Fetus. He also switches into Xatu, I guess wanting to soak up or knowing that I was scarfed. Of course, I guess I just go for a Calm Mind, and he yawns, of course, going to try and force me to switch, which it works. I hit him with a Psyshock, but it works, and I switch into Dopey while he recovers his HP. Sandstorm's still raging. I'm the only one that takes damage. He switches into Ferrothorn, and I switch back into Fetus, the Reuniclus. Sandstorm's still raging. I go for a Calm Mind. He throws out some spikes, and this is where I was worried, because I know Ferrothorn will always carry either spikes or Leech Seed or both. So I go for a Psyshock, hoping it'd do some damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't. So he just sets a second layer of spikes down, and followed by a third one while I continue to set up Calm Mind. He pulls in his Ferrothorn, going back to his Quagsire to force a switch, because, hey, he has spikes set up. Why not force that switch? I get him with a Toxic at least, so I can say that the thing is at least in a bit of trouble. He brings Landorus back in, so I, try to do something. So I bring in Zen, and hoping that I'd get a Ferrothorn prediction, because that's what I did last time, going for the Ice Punch and such. I was actually right with a high jump kick and took out the Ferrothorn, so he brings in X-Scissor and finishes off Zen. Because, let's put it this way, he's faster than a scarfed frickin' Medicham. He's also faster than my Alakazam. So I go for Focus Blast and miss and switch out into not Excadrill, but Tank Face, the Metagross, who eats an Earthquake and gets knocked out. So I bring in Casey, the Alakazam again, who also goes down to another Earthquake. And at this point, I'm actually thinking that it's pretty much over, but it's not. I would be wrong. So I bring in Dopey, the Slowbro, and he brings in Tyranitar, obviously Dark, completely ignoring psychic damage. I slack off trying to get some HP, so he sets up Stealth Rocks. So now at this point, it's pretty much, if I switch in at any point, I'm pretty screwed. Except that Fetus has Magic Guard and doesn't really have to worry about the entry hazards, unlike Dopey. So we get Calm Mind and Earthquake, and then another Calm Mind. He does another Earthquake, Dopey just shrugging them off because he's actually pretty physically bulky. Which is strange coming from a Psychic type. So I hit him with... Oh, I don't hit him with anything. The poison damage took him out. Sorry. So he yawns, trying to force me to switch, and I just scald and hit him for 31% of his health. Of course, Quagsire's going to take poison damage. And of course, thinking that had switched, he went for another yawn. I slack off, and I just go ahead and accept the fact that I'm going to sleep. So he brings in Excadrill, who goes for an X-Scissor, and hoping to knock me out, except I actually wake up and scald him and knock him out, which was pretty freaking lucky, if I say so myself. Sandstorm's still going because of that Tyranitar Sandstream. So the Quagsire goes for another yawn, trying to force a switch, but it doesn't work because I decide, hey, I only have 2 left. I might as well soak up sleep at this point. So I go for another Calm Mind, and he recovers from the toxic damage. Sandstorm still rages. Everybody gets leftovers HP. So he brings in Xatu, who's been giving me, problems this entire match. Well, not really, but it was more the Excadrill that I was worried about. So he Calm Minds because, 2 can play that game, and I tried that strategy earlier. So we all take sandstorm damage, and I gain HP from leftovers. So he does another Calm Mind. And like I said, I'm thinking at this point it's over. So he's gonna Calm Mind and sweep is what I was thinking would happen. So he gets a third Calm Mind off. He's now tied with me. I wake up, go for the Scald, which hits for 33% of his health. He goes for a Roost, you know, to recover that HP. Puts him in a landed status. I Scald again. It's not going to do enough. So at this point, I'm thinking maybe I should try and Calm Mind. So he Calm Minds. And I end up going for a Scald. Hoping that, you know, I'd get a crit maybe, but it didn't happen. So he's at 5% of his HP, so he just Roosts. And me predicting that he'd go for the Roost, I actually go for the Calm Mind to try and keep up with his. So now I'm at, you know, we're both at 3x. Meaning that whoever gets the knockout here's probably got the victory in the bag. So he Calm Minds again, and I Scald and actually get a burn. Sandstorm damage hits him for 6%, and then the burn, which would have hit him for 12%, actually knocks him out because he doesn't have enough HP. Landorus coming in with a Grass Knot, expecting it to knock out, except it doesn't. So I counter with a Scald, which knocks him out, and at this point, he actually forfeited the battle because the replay ends here. So somehow, by a miraculous feat of just perseverance, we come from a huge disadvantage to a victory because of the Slowbro with Calm Mind. A physically bulky Slowbro with Calm Mind. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming, and this match went on for 67 turns. So I really didn't expect to win this battle, especially not after this. So after that, it pretty much came down to a war of attrition if I could just outlast, I suppose, or, you know, with a bit of luck, because all he had to do was pretty much crit me with that 3x and it was over on his Atu. I would have been done for. But with that, once again, thank you, Imperial, for the awesome matchup. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. So, yeah, Ultimate Mantoid, take care and have fun.